What's going on, everyone? Today in this video, I just wanted to share a few organization habits that I adopted as a minimalist. Now, this is a pretty short list, but each of these things is fairly helpful in creating mental and physical organization. And I know we're going into the holiday season and everyone has a lot on their plates, so I figured this might be a good time to make this video. I also wanted to make habits that can be applied and started immediately. So this is 4 organization habits of a minimalist. But first, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. Here we talk about minimalism, self-improvement, frugal living, and things of that nature. So if that sounds good to you, be sure to like and consider subscribing. And thank you for 700 subscribers. I really appreciate it. Now, I know I said that these were going to be easy habits to start, but this first one might not be. And that is to sit inside or outside and do absolutely nothing for 15 minutes. Now, this might sound odd, but hear me out. I think that by stopping the overstimulation of our phones or even music can really help promote a little bit more mental clarity, even if it's just for a very small window of time, like 10 or 15 minutes. One of my favorite quotes of all time is, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." And it's kind of sad because how many of us can actually sit there and do nothing for a long period of time before we reach for our phones to do something? This quote is from the 1600s, and I feel like it rings truer today than it ever has, at least in my case. Anyways, this 15 minutes of meditation, or whatever you want to call it, helps me step back for a second and see the bigger picture or the bigger goal of whatever it is I need to get done. And I emphasize doing this without music or your phone on you. Now, the second habit on this list is to have a physical planner. I know there's been some studies out there about how writing things down makes it easier for us to remember whatever it is we're writing down. But it also feels like writing things just has more significance than typing it into our phone. Not to mention, if I need to write something down for a specific date, I can write notes next to it if I have to. And like I said, writing things down physically just feels more significant. It also helps me not completely rely on my memory, which is going in my old age. It keeps my goals and deadlines clear, and it is much less distracting than my phone calendar. Because naturally, I won't fall into the trap of checking other apps while I'm on my phone. With this planner, it's easier to see the bigger picture, and if I have to, I can see week by week, which makes it easier to plan ahead. And not to mention, going to the new year, it might be a great time to get started with a planner and start with a clean slate. I got this one at Walmart for like $10. The next habit here is give everything a home. I know I'm always reverting to that saying, minimalism is all about intentionality. So everything that you own should serve a purpose and it should have a place somewhere in your home. In my case, with my items, everything returns to its place when I'm done. And doing so, I very rarely lose things. Like when I come home, my keys and wallet go right into my desk. I've mentioned already all my important items that I don't need every day, I know are always in my safe. And eventually this becomes second nature. If you struggle to find homes for some of your items, it might be a good sign that it's time to declutter. Now, the next organization habit is probably my favorite that I've ever adopted, and that is to avoid multitasking. I used to love the idea of hustle culture and getting everything done, and grinding and hard work is how to make it happen. But at a certain point, I think working hard makes you lose sense of working smart. And in my case, focusing on one thing at a time always increased quality and productivity with whatever I'm doing. I'm a firm believer of jack of all trades, master of none. And I actually made a video talking about this on how multitasking can sometimes cause all work to suffer in quality. I recommend accomplishing one task at a time and focusing on what can be done today instead of worrying things that are happening in the future that you can't control. Give attention and energy to one task at a time. Yes, this is helpful for staying physically organized, but I think this is good for our mental health and mental clarity because we won't have things out of our control cluttering our minds. I quite literally try to keep one thing on my desk at a time, and that is whatever I'm working on in that moment. I recommend giving yourself a window of time, no matter how small the task is, because in my experience, I found out that I would get the same amount of work done if I had all day to do it rather than if I gave myself a deadline by, say, 2 p.m. If I knew I had more time to get something done, I would somehow find a way to drag it out to make it last the entire day. Anyways, that was just a few organization habits I adopted as a minimalist. I really hope you got some value out of this video, and if you did, be sure to like and consider subscribing to the channel. It really means a lot to me. Anyways, I'll see you next time.